Right, I'm back. Sometimes, and try this, if you want to get a bit more power into your screwdriver, because you lose a load, because your hands are generally greasy and a slip on it, you can just get that little bit extra torque, twist into it. I could be wrong, but we'll try it. Oh, thank God, Bennett. We won now. Hey, we won. Do you like that one? Sharpening the chainsaw. I slipped, followed through, hit the next tuss and went down to the bone. I super glued it together. Can't beat it, super glue. Right. Take the high torque gloves off. I'd already undone these while we were switched off to save getting the video too long and boring. But if you like me, when I'm watching these tree cutting ones, Jan Butler, I like him. I'll tell you what, he's something else. Soar above his head, 6 foot, and standing on scaffolding and Jan Butler, if you've not seen him. Canada, I think. Or I can recommend Jacob, guilty of treason. Oh, where's that gone? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's broken as well. That's a half a washer. Or a 2/3 of a washer. Yeah, Jacob, guilty of treason. He's good. How the hell am I going to knock that off? If I try and knock the crank through, it might so somebody's look, they're usually Allen keys, these, and somebody's replaced them for screws. I hope that the other ones aren't. Oh, that's new as well, look. There's 2 screws in the top of there holding something to do with the crank. Eh? I think it was an early saw. Around about the L65s, which got the wrong starter cover on. Right, we've got to try and get these oil pump. You know, they look clean from the outside, these saws, when you buy them and you think, oh, I'll just start them up and run them, but looky down in there, it's absolutely full of all sorts of muck and scutter, and crankcase isn't too bad. But I think it's been painted before, because the factory don't paint the inside. In this case it comes off and mixes with your fuel. I don't think so anyway. Right, what size screwdriver do we want? But this, oh, I'm going to give it the tap. Sometimes works. Oh, got it. Don't get over enthusiastic, man. Digwell. Oh, that one's gone as well. It's definitely the tap that break the seal. Oh, that one's gone as well. Oh, we've been looked upon in a whatever manner of speaking. Horrible weather now, winter. Just wet and windy now. You've got to be careful with these, you don't break the edges off because the 2 pins in there. Just ease it up gently. Look at the crud in there. Hey? Hey? I couldn't start that up. Hey? It's the bearings like. Not too bad, but there's a lot of dirt in them and degradation. We'll buy a couple of them, only £2.50. SKF 6202-2, I think. Just a roller bearing, 22mm. Oh, it's on there, look. Sweden, these ones. Somebody else's. MK, NK, KN. Oh, the KN. KNN. Make filters. Right. Now look, we've got. We're lucky. We've got holding the crankcase together. Hex. 6, 7 of them, I think. Oh, look at the shite. It's good for your chain, but it's not good for anything else. It's sticky oil. Vegetable oil. Used to run the motorbikes on it years ago. I reckon it was right, we took all the screws out that hold the... Oh no, we haven't. Or is it, have we? No. Oh no, there's another one here. Is it going to be a sod stuck in there in the corner? That's the one that we see. Hey. I'll see if I can do it without the gloves. We'll give it the tap. The anti-shocker. Oh, she's done. They have to be fairly flush, these, because of the magneto swirling round. It catches them if you put a big they used to recess them into there, or they did in the later saws. So right, we've got to try and split this now. It should go. There you go. Oops, I've got the spring out the... I need to push the rubber bung out of here. Can you see it? Ah, I know what it is. It's the oil pipe. Stop here. I forgot something. This is just a little wire retaining. There you go. Bolt. It's stopping the two halves coming together apart. There you go. Rubbers aren't too bad. They're difficult. Oh, there's one broke. Look. I'd sent for some from China. They come with the big thread on. But you just have to put them in the lathe, or some out of the way, and turn them down. Right. So we have that. So we got 5. Oh, my knees. And this one, we usually use this, my nice 2, 3, 4, the gaskets that seal the two halves together are awkward to get on these old saws. I'll make mine. I'll just buy some gasket paper. You can get different thicknesses, 0.25, 0.5, or you don't want it too thick, or the cylinder head bolts won't line up with them, although they have got some flexibility in the bottom of the holes for the head bolts. They're on a spring loaded. Keep them in there. And you just trace around the cover after you've cleaned it. If you bear with me a second, I'll show you what the finished article looks like. You just trace around them, and the fit in between there, the horseshoe and this piece up here, which hasn't got a seal, but the crankcase needs a seal due to the fact that it has to pressurise when the piston goes down to send your charge up the transfer passages. There's another one here you mustn't forget, or it won't allow it to split up there. I'm not teaching you to cook here, this is for people who've never took one apart before. Because all you other chaps will say, oh, I knew all that. Yeah. I stopped telling a chap for things, because every time I told him something, he says, oh, I already knew that. He didn't, not until I told him. And when I stopped telling him, he said, why don't you tell me things now? I says, because you always say you knew them before I told you. He said, oh, you cottoned on, have you? Some people aren't honest. It's a man thing. Nobody can be an engineer. I've been in the engineering all my life, and they're just another. Nobody does anything right. Nobody screws a nut up right. They'll always put some comment, try and knock you down. Well, you comment on here, and I'll comment back to you. I suppose you think there's something called fundamental force, called suction in the world. There's no such thing as suction. It's all atmospheric pressure and airflow trying to equalise. Nothing pulling, it's all push. I've been fighting them for my whole career. Vacuum cleaners don't run on suction, they run on atmospheric pressure, driving air into the nozzle and picking up dust on the way. Oh, I've already took that one out, no wonder it wouldn't turn. And that's this one we're looking for, isn't it? The one that everybody forgets. The one that everybody forgets. Don't lose these. The chain adjusters mechanism. They're like gold dust. They'll last $10 to $15 for one of them. You can make the screw, but you can't make the spigot. Well, you can, but you make them out of a square of metal. But they're hell of a hard work. Might as well just pay the $10. Look at this. Hey, look. Mrs. Digwell's brought the tea. Well, it was a bonus. Hey, there you go. Another alcoholic here, Billy J. Eh? But I've been up it 35 years. When you've been up it 35 years, I'll give you you know, a heads up. 35 years without alcohol. Changed the course of my life. That's another story. Right. Oh, look, somebody's tried to get apart before and bloody and made a hurl. What have they? I don't know. See, just now, the reason it doesn't come straight apart is there are two dowels, one in that side and one in the other, that line the crankcase up. And I think there's one in still. Is there? You're allowed to put one in there. Ooh. If we can save this gasket. There you go. It'll always do us a template to make some. I think we still got a screw in. I don't know what those little screws are there. I don't know what they are. I wonder if they stop the crankcase from coming apart, or to press onto the bearings. Possible. We'll just loosen them off. I've never seen them before. You see them in there. And I kind of think they probably push onto the bearing outer casing just to stop it spinning. They don't put them in the later saws. Well, I've not seen them. When I say later saws, I mean the 95ers. And now we'll know now. When we put this in, it might just... don't make no difference because it's... Have we got that one out in there? Whether I've got that one. Oh, she's starting now, look. She's starting to go. It's not splitting at the bottom. The dowels are holding it in. Ah, there's one in still. There's still a screw in this. Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey? Where is it? Shouldn't do this. Marks a crankcase. Shall we give it a tap? A tap out with the rubber hammer. There's the dowel in there, can you see it? There's one holding down in the bottom. Feels it has something, hasn't it? I wonder if those little things have to come all the way out. No, we don't want to drop these because that could be a bit of a bugger to find. I had the little ball bearing fall out my tillets and on the 1100 the other day that spring loads the choke flap, and I went all the way around. I've got the workshop on my hands and knees with 3 pairs of glasses on to see as close as I could. Couldn't find it. It was in the carburetor body itself. Right, I'm going to put those somewhere safe. I'll just switch off a second.